All right, we are now recording. They are doing 5 strict burpees and 10 air squats 3 times through to get warm in case you do this outside and it's as cold as it is right now. Like 48 degrees, 46, 48. So 3 times through that.
Three times?
Yeah, like a lot of time.
Did 200 of yesterday.
Oh, Jim, I think I can hear you say something, but I can't tell what. Nice job, guys. All right, so I just want to do a little check-in with you guys to see what weights you have. So, Dennis, remind me what your kettlebell weight is. Hi, Cheryl.
Here's my adjusted kettlebell. It's 25 pounds.
Okay, awesome. And then, Patrick, remind me of what weight you have. He's gone. I know Wayne has the 53 pounds or the 24 kilogram. And Cheryl, you have a pretty average weight, right?
Yeah, I have a couple. So I have a 16 kilogram one and I also have a 15-pound one. So
yeah, so that's nice. So if you need to warm up, you can. And Jim, what do you have? Oh, he's off again. All right. Well, the idea is that you wouldn't have much more than like 24 kilogram guys, 16 ladies. Anything more than that will be really hard for anyone. So I just wanted to double check and make sure. All right, so the next part of our warm up is going to be, we're going to do 2 dead cleans, 4 front rack squats, and 2, 4, 6, 6 swings per side. I'm going to show that to you really quick. So dead cleans, we take our kettlebell from the ground, like a deadlift position, drive the hips up, and then land in that front rack position. You're going to do 2 of those, 4 squats, and then 6 one-arm swings. All right? So thumb goes back, thumb goes up. You can set the
I have a question, Mary. So
yeah.
my kettlebells are pretty light. They're only 10 pounds, but I have a 20-pound dumbbell. Should I be using that or should I use the light kettlebell?
For this, you can do the dumbbell. It would just might be weird to swing it, but yeah.
Okay.
So 2
Thank you.
of the clean, 4 squats, 6 swings, and then switch arms. Go left, right, left, right, left, right. All right, so this is kind of our next section of our warm-up, second warm-up. So these dead cleans are going to come from the ground each time. Squats will feel the harder part, but hopefully you're a little warmer now. And then the swings, making sure you're hinging at the hips, the knees are just bending slightly, and the kettlebell stays real high between your legs. Thinking of taking a bow. Then you can set it down and switch arms. So I'm just kind of talking for the benefit of those who might be watching later. With those dead cleans, it's like you're taking a zipping up your coat. So you take it from the ground, like you're zipping up your coat, and then you're throwing the backpack over your shoulder, and it's going to land in that front rack. So when you do after 2 of those, then you kind of raise your elbows up to do those squats so that the kettlebell shifts back slightly. And then taking the bow, driving the hips for the hip swings. That's a really interesting looking kettlebell, Dennis.
Don't show my daughter.
So it's 3 times through. So left, right, left, right, left, right. So 2 of those dead planes over front squats. I'm going to start to put some of this in the notes for people.
Didn't want to come out and find you?
Oops.
You're scared. When I come out and find you, you're scared.
How many times are we doing it?
3 times.
3 times, thank you.
All right, everybody done? All right, when you're done, I'm gonna have you sit at the bottom of a squat. We're gonna do some prep for some overhead squats that are coming up. So sitting at the bottom of the squat, moving around a little bit. I'm gonna have you drop your shoulder and raise up and pull back as much as you can. Drop the other shoulder, raise the hand up, pull back. So get a really good trunk twist. Think about your torso being as upright as you can get it. Imagining if you had weight in that hand. Do 5 per side.
Oh.
And then 7 big arm circles around. Take your time and open up. Look for side.
I'm not doing that.
All right. So we're going to do a little bit of talking about the Metcon. We're going to learn the movements, and then we'll go through it. So first of all, we have one movement that you all have probably done before, a 1-arm overhead squat. I'll show all these. We have one movement that we've gone over together. If you've been to every one of these classes, you've probably seen it. That's the hand-to-hand snatch switch. I don't really know what it's called exactly, but I'll show that as well. And then finally, we have some kettlebell flips. And it looks like, I don't think anyone is outside, but you can still kind of learn these movements and like the progressions to get to them. So Melly, quiet. Thank you. Mail delivery. Progressions to get to these movements, and then there's something to aspire to or to try and play with as the weather gets better, you go outside or whatever. So I'm going to show all three of these movements, and then we're going to go over some kind of progressions to get through them. All right, so what you can see. Okay, so if you follow me on Instagram, I actually posted this earlier this week, but a kettlebell flip is the first movement. So what we do, I'm going to show it the later one, my gosh. All right, so what we do is we do a kettlebell swing, but we're going to flip it into the air, and as you can see, it takes a little time. That's the first movement, all right? The second movement is the kettlebell switch, snatch switch. So I'm going to bring it from the ground, and then I'm going to switch hands right in front of my face and press overhead. Bring it all the way to the ground, press overhead. It's just overhead squats. All right, so we're going to do little pieces of all of that. All right, so the first thing I want you guys to do is if you have a lighter kettlebell, this is the time to use it. I'm going to have you do just 5 regular Russian swings to start. So starting with it out in front, hike the kettlebell, little Russian swing. This is a really important time, if you've been in my class, to remember there's a reason why we don't end at the top with straight arms, but instead a little bend in the arm, all right? So 5 of those. Then here's the thing. You're wanting to play with the next step. The next step is just a little tiny release of the hands. And when I say tiny, I mean super tiny. So I hike it, I kind of just like, really just like let it get airborne. I'm pulling slightly in, but I'm not letting it go yet, all right? So if you feel comfortable with just the tiny little airborne regrab, that's kind of the first step. If you're like, nope, there's no way I should do that in these surroundings, you're instead gonna start to work your way higher and higher to some American swings. All right, so a little bit of airborne for 5 reps, if you haven't already.
And so for me with my dumbbell, should I just be like alternating arms and doing the same thing?
How heavy
I can't
is your
fit both
kettlebell?
my hands into it.
How heavy is your kettlebell?
10 pounds, it's like nothing.
So you could probably do the same thing with a dumbbell and just kind of release it a little bit. So what we're learning is trajectory and like how our weight, whenever we do whatever weight we're using, what direction goes when we swing and how to control it. So the next step would be, if you've got those watching later, start to do a release. So you kind of forward you a little bit. I think you'd probably feel more comfortable with the 10 pound with that than anything, Patrick. So it's just a little pull, so it's straight up in front of you and then back down. If you need to skip this part or just go to all the way overhead, you can. All right, so I'm going to give the next steps for anybody watching later, which are essentially that pull, and I'm going to flip my wrists, all right? I have to release the kettlebell and kind of see where it goes. I'm never going to martyr myself for it, but I need to pull and flip just enough to get the kettlebell handle to come around and over. So I don't know if anybody watching has the ability or the space to try this, especially if you don't have a lighter kettlebell to try it on. But the idea is that you are pulling and coming under and grabbing the bell wherever it might come. So when it's lighter, it actually flips a lot easier, but you're just watching for the handle. All right, when it's heavier, it actually doesn't go as far. But for anybody watching later who might want to try that, that's why we have a yard. I have a mat that I can do it over so that if it hits the ground, it won't damage the yard. So that would be our first movement today, and any variation of that. So it's 10 of those. So it could be 10 slight releases. It can be 10 greater releases. It can be just 10 American swings if you're not up for any of that today. All right, so think about kind of what you want to do today. That's our first movement, 10 of those. Anybody have any questions on that?
If we're not doing the flip, should we use a heavier weight?
Yes, because
Okay.
you can still control that kind of, like, are you wanting to do a little bit of a release? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's even just
Yeah.
like airborne. It's what we do anyway when we have to do a million of them in a row and then we get tired.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It also helps us learn to save our grip. So yeah, the heavier weight would be great.
Okay.
All right, cool. So that's our first movement. Have your plan in your head for whatever you'd like to do for that. All right, so our hand-to-hand switch or our snatch switch. All right, so this is another opportunity for you to release a bell and then re-grab the bell. Some of these things are really hard to slow down to show you, but what I would do if I was doing it with no weight, I'm gonna clean it and grab it with the other hand and punch, all right? Turning is just my way of grabbing it in a position that's comfortable to press it up. So then I bring it all the way back down. I'm gonna clean it, grab it with my other hand, and punch. That's my slow-mo, all right? So I'm gonna show you again with the weight. Switch right in front of my face, all the way back down. Switch all the way back down. It takes some thought. You're doing 10 of those. And it's, as far as a dumbbell, it's actually kind of an opposite dumbbell snatch, right? Right?
Yeah, that works.
So your hand switch is only in front of your face, Dennis. You wouldn't do any switching until you were coming up. Yeah, so your hand, it would stay in your hand and then pull up and switch. There you go, good. This adds a little obliques. What I can see looks great. All right, guys, so that's your second movement. Now your third. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned one-arm overhead squat? Most people don't love a good old-fashioned one-arm overhead squat. I know, Patrick, it's your very favorite thing to do.
I love it.
Here's where that 10-pound kettlebell may come in handy, right? So if you have a lighter object and would like to do a few practice reps, the most important thing with these is obviously range of motion is the goal. So go in with a lighter weight, whatever you can do to range of motion, but it's to keep your heels on the ground. Quite often the side that we're holding the weight, that heel wants to come up. So what you would do on your final snatch switch is hold it up there, and then we're gonna try those overhead squats. The dominant arm will always be so much easier, so that's what I always show. But I'm ready to just do a couple of reps. If this is not gonna happen with the weight you have, that you could do some shoulder to overhead maybe, but so far so good. Dennis would just be keeping that arm straight the best you can. Yeah, that's really good, Cheryl. How was that, Wayne?
The hardest is going to be my non-dominant hand transitioning. So, you know, like from the left to the right, right to the left. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
So if we're doing 5 of them, are we doing every other hand? Can we do 5 one time and 5 the next, one arm one time and one arm the next time?
It's our third thing. So you'll finish the hand-to-hand snatch, and then you'll just go right into the overhead squat on the hand that you land in, and then you'll switch and do your 5 overhead squat on the other arm.
Okay.
And that hand-to-hand switch, every single time I do it, I have to think a lot. So if that's you, you get there and you're like, what am I doing again? That's really normal. It's not at all something that we would ever have done in CrossFit unless it was like a kettlebell certified instructor who really likes them or something. So what we're doing, and I wrote it in the notes, is every 3 minutes, you're going to complete all of that. It gives those of you with a heavier weight an opportunity to really focus on your technique, the overhead squat, to play a little bit with the hand release. And then it should give you about a minute of rest, all right? Now here's the deal. If somebody's like feeling really like they want to get their butts kicked today a little bit more weight than this, you can feel free to finish out that 3 minutes with burpees. I will not stop you. And that will give you 3 days in a row minimum of burpees. But that is not necessarily like something that I'm telling anyone to do. I'm just saying, like, either if your weight's really light or, you know, you're wanting to get your heart rate a lot higher, that's something you could do. All right.
So just to be clear, for the timing, we're doing 5 rounds of 3 minutes each. Is that correct?
You're completing 1 round in 3 minutes and resting, or doing burpees for the remainder of the 3 minutes, whatever's left.
Okay, and then we do that 5 times?
Yes.
Got it.
And how many squats for the third movement?
5 on each side.
All right.
So also, Dennis, I don't know if you can see the chat. You might not be able to. I just wrote it there just so you'd have it.
If you click on the ... more in the top right corner, then you can get to the chat, Dennis.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
It doesn't let me do another try. Or before taking time.
So 10 flips or releases or swings and hand-to-hand switch snatch, or and then 5 and 5 overhead squats. All right, guys, I'm getting the timer up, which I had and then lost.
Guys?
Thank you for your patience.
So do until you die.
Just give me a minute here.
You have to follow those. Okay.
Okay, guys, here we go. Starting with those release swings here. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Come on. If you just don't think like that, don't.
There you go, Wayne. You got it. All the way down with that hand and then switch on the way up. There we go.
Okay, no. Yes.
So the first
Now
one,
we do burpees, Mary, or
sorry.
do we do burpees now?
Yeah, if you're up for it, go for it. They don't have to be fast. You just kind of keep me moving through the rest of the 3 minutes. Allotted for people who are going with that full flip, might drop the weight. Workout for that. $30 seconds. All right, we're going to be ready to go. That second set. In 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice, looks like everybody's getting the hang of it. Nice, Dennis. There you go. Take your time on the overhead squats. Get nice and deep. Whatever you want. All right, halfway done with this one. One more minute. Seconds, and for the next round, if anybody would rather do more kettlebells than burpees, I'm going to encourage you to do more swings. 15 swings, and then again to go really slow on those overhead squats, even holding for a second at the bottom to get the most out of it. Here we go in 15 seconds. 10. 3, 2, 1, go. One minute in. That's halfway. Just over a minute till we go on the fourth round, guys. more minute and I'm going to join in on the next one because I'm freezing. Left, guys. 10 seconds till we start. 3, 2, 1, go. Halfway, guys. Five more seconds to our last round. All right, 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1, go. you doing? Thirty seconds, guys. You gotta go all the way to the end. 10 seconds. Good job, Dennis. And rest. Nice job, guys. Sorry about all the burpees. I'm telling you, those kettlebell flips are really, really hard and they take a lot of time. So if you ever have a chance to play with that outdoors, it's kind of why I made it 3 minutes instead of 2 for anyone who was doing those. So thanks for trying that new thing today. Maybe. Did anybody count their burpees?
No.
Love burpees.
Dennis,
Patrick, I'm looking forward to flipping some really heavy kettlebells with you in the gym.
right?
Same here.
Go outside and grab something heavier when we get back. So if they're too light, they like the littlest flick and they go all over the place. Mine's so heavy that my left fingers got hit a few times and they're numb now, so I kept dropping it. So you got to find a happy medium. So I would say like 26 for women, like the 12 kilograms really nice, and the 16 kilograms are great weights to practice and try that with. It's hard to do much lighter or heavier.
Although the last 2 rounds I did the 10-pound kettlebells on my overhead squats, which was really nice because those are really, really hard for me.
Yeah, I know they are. Get it. It took me forever. All right. Well, good job, guys. I don't know. This might be our last kettlebell class at Timberwolf Fitness, at least on Zoom. Who knows, right?
No offense, Mary, but I hope so.
I sure do. For all of our sakes.
Right.
But I'll always like incorporate more kettlebell stuff into warm-ups and when we get back to class and maybe some stuff you guys have done now.
Great.
So,
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hopefully see you at the gym soon.
Everyone.
Thanks, Mary. Bye, everybody.
Bye.